What's going on, everybody? It's the Indoor Hunter, and I should probably title this video Hard Pills to Swallow. I don't know yet, but I'm going to give out some information that was just released via the live stream from Expansive Worlds that is, well, a tough pill to swallow. Turns out we have been grinding completely wrong this entire time. This live stream took everything that you knew about grinding or thought you knew, myself included, and turned it upside down. Jaxie Beard, the Expansive Worlds community manager, even went so far as to calling some content creators like myself spreaders of misinformation. So let's kind of take a deep dive on what was asked, how it was responded to, and of course toward the end of the video I'm going to include the actual stream so you guys can hear it for yourself, because I already sense the flaming comments below that I am wrong, but you kind of can't be wrong whenever the people themselves say you guys are wrong, and this is exactly how it works because we're tired of hearing about it. So basically the topic of conversation had gained over to the grinding aspect of the game, which for the developers is obviously something they didn't actually intend on having to deal with. While understandably some people want to min-max the game, they didn't realize how big of a sensation Great One grinding was going to become, and the giant misinformation, truths, and just flat out wrong information was going to come from Great One grinding. And one of the previous surveys that they had, they realized there was a lot of player burnout because of Great One grinding. And now they're pretty tight-lipped on the functions of the game, how the game works, how respawns work, how Great One spawning works, how all of that works. For obvious reasons, if we knew exactly how it worked, it wouldn't be as fun. But they wanted to prevent people from burning themselves out trying to get Great Ones. There have been some Great One grinds in the high kill counts of like 10, 15,000, and so they wanted to clarify some things to maybe make it a little bit easier for us, the community, and maybe for you guys that are just getting into grinding, or maybe you're listening to people like myself. Again, I'm not clearing myself of guilt on this because I just assumed that other people knew what they were talking about, and well, they're wrong. So let's start with the first bit of earth-shattering information. Show of hands in the comments below, how many of you back out of the menu or go to a different map or even close the game out to get your respawns back? I know I do. Turns out that's not how respawns work at all, and they actively discourage doing that because those are tied to your actively saved game, and it can actually break the game for you. Makes a lot of sense because on my Great One grind for the whitetail, I noticed a significant change in my whitetail respawns. Even to this day, they're still funky. They don't come to their zones on time. They don't show up, and it's very, very frustrating, but it all makes sense now because, like you guys, I was under the impression that backing out to the menu, coming back in, is actually going to make those respawns come in faster. And while obviously 9 times out of 10 it works, there's that 1 time out of 10 where it ruins everything. And again, this is one of those things that is so ingrained in myself. I'm like, well, then how do you get respawns? And that's the mystery. Nobody really knows. The next piece of information is one of those that I am so guilty of talking about. I can't tell you how many hundreds of times, almost religiously, I tell people, when you start your Great One grind, you need to find all your need zones. Turns out that is completely not only false, but it's untrue and discouraged. They came out and said, hey, here's the deal. When it comes to need zones, do not find all your need zones if you're going to be Great One grinding. The reason being, respawns are actually completely random. They're not tied to a specific need zone, so if you shoot one animal, it's not guaranteed to spawn at that spot. It could go anywhere. Meaning, if you have all of your need zones discovered, there's a good chance it's going to show up somewhere else that you don't even aren't aware of or aren't actively hunting. Again, this is one of those that is a hard pill to swallow because that's one of those main kind of core things when it comes to Great One grinding, at least so we thought. And basically they laid the law of the land down saying, no, don't do this. If you want to have a successful, quick, easy grind, don't discover all your need zones. Keep it small, keep it simple. Don't discover those zones because you have a good chance. Let's say you've got 60, 70, 80 need zones. You're going to have to hunt all those actively because you might actually have a great one on your zone and just not know it. So if you're one of those that has really funky respawns or have animals that don't show up to the need zones and it's really frustrating, they actually kind of talked about that too. That's a function in the game. It is working as intended. It's not broken, except for how we're kind of operating the game. Now, obviously they don't want to divulge exactly how it works, so they're keeping kind of silent on that end of things. But at the end of the day, folks, if you're one of those like myself that have been backing out to the menu, jumping right back in, don't do that. I've actually found a alternative kind of solution. And again, and I've actually debunked this myself, dirty grinding does not work for great ones, and it really ruins the experience of the game because it really trashes your respawn. So do not dirty grind. Every time you shoot something, make sure you go to collect it. Again, and this all really makes sense when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, because if you've got 80 plus need zones that you're gonna have to go check, it's obviously gonna be really hard to go and collect everything that you shoot. Keep it small, keep it simple, keep it down to like 4 or 5 zones and collect everything that you shoot. This goes on to the second part. So I have noticed a good way to get your respawns, and this is actually from some of the more illegitimate ways people have data mined the game, but long story short, collecting the animals actually helps spur in respawns. And I've had a great success of running through my zones after collecting everything and simply changing time, and guess what? My respawns are there. There's no need to back out. There's no need to exit out of the game. They're just there because I've been taking the time to actually go and collect everything that I shoot. Now, obviously, if you're like myself and have been guilty of backing out the menu and stuff, again, you could have probably already ruined your respawns rates, and it gets really trashy and funky, and it's pretty annoying. But long story short, let's take a look at what the community manager from Expansive Worlds has to say about this.
My back. How can you fix it when you have every zone, but the deers are not responding as you should? I'm doing a great one, right, for white toads. They're not responding like they should. What up, Banana? How you doing, my friend? There can be reasons. Now, I can't stress enough. Please do not jump and kill a bunch of animals, jump out of your map to the main menu and jump back in. It can screw up your in-game save and the progression of your respawns. Don't do this. And I find a lot of times when I see a comment like that, there's something happening because there's a lot of misinformation that is spread out there. And it's, you know, just because, so yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. And a lot of it is working as intended, and I can't speak on the mechanics behind it. But again, it's because of misinformation that's out there as to why this is all misconstrued and misunderstood. Just remember, respawns are not guaranteed. Lung butter. It better be. They just stood there. Respawns are not guaranteed to return to the point of where you shot them. Those days are long gone. There is more to the AI. And I find that the vast majority of our core community, those that interact with us on the regular, are still under the impression that they're going to be there, that it's going to go back to that herd, and quite often that doesn't happen. The problem with working on and visiting all of your zones is your animals have a chance when they respawn to go to any of those zones. So if you're on a grind, keep it more localized. Don't go and do this whole find all your zones and go here. That's the long way of doing things. Well, Smooth Blue, not entirely. Not entirely. It's just like how we thought for the longest time that the need zones in our game were the holy grail. They were the, you must protect them at all costs, and you absolutely need these, and that's just simply not the case. And as time goes on and communities figured out more, you know, the whole mentality starts to change on that. And a lot of that has to do with HM, right? There's a lot there still yet to be learned.
And again, I still feel like I'm probably going to get torched for this in the comments because of so many people are just concrete, you know, on how all of this works, and obviously everything that we thought we knew is completely incorrect. Let me know what you think about this new discovery in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.